Hello everyone, I'm Thierry Nguyen and I will be presenting you our framework today and the value proposition that it offers to any customer who wants to do test automation. Okay. Pegasie has been founded in 2001, has a presence across Canada and more recently in the States. We count up to this day about 140, 150 customers, most of which are part of the Fortune 500 or has a very strong focus in software development. We work with several vendors, but we're well known for our approach and toolkit that we provide with our services, either whether it is integration services or outsourcing offering. Pegasie received several awards in the last few years, but more recently we received the Partner One Software Award from HP for the excellence of our work and also the quality provided to our customer base. It was given to us back in March in Vegas, and I had the pleasure to receive this award. This is perfectly aligned with the value proposition that we provide to our customers, which is understanding the potential of the tool so we can modify the processes accordingly and get the best of both worlds. Okay, our framework integrates with HP testing toolset. So the three main benefits are we're able to improve the financial value provided by the tools. We're able to bonify whatever the tool has to offer and also decrease the risk associated to how we can use the tool. So I'm just going to give you a few examples, but the highlights are that we are able to execute tests much faster. The execution time is so much faster than if you would go with a component approach or any other approach for that matter. The other key thing you have to look into an automation project is the maintenance effort. You got to be thinking about how we're going to do how we're going to manage the maintenance on those scripts. Well, we believe that we have a solution that reduces the maintenance effort to an absolute minimum. The second point is, the way we work with the tool and the way our framework interacts with the tool allows us to have a lot more functionalities around ALM, also as a lot more detail reporting that can come out of ALM. So this is a clear value prop that we have to offer. In terms of risk mitigation, we all know that it's always a struggle to retain the business knowledge, retain the technical knowledge within a project. Well, we have a way of working with the tool that reduce dependencies to our technical resource, so it decreases the risk in that fashion. And finally, the migration of HP ALM are much easier because most customization stays out of ALM. Okay, so this is how it works. We first of all, you have to know that we worked with a command-based approach. So what it means is that within a baseline, we have repetitive action. So for instance, we have create an order, delete an order, and update an order. Within those three test cases, we have log in, log out in every of them, and so on. So the concept is that we built a command collection in which we will retrieve all the different actions within the entire baseline. This will allow us to improve the way we modify and we document the test cases, not only on the manual fashion, but also on the automation fashion. So if we take the example of a login, we want to add a domain name to a login. Well, we can go into the login command, simply do the modification and push it through the entire baseline. So this decreases the amount of effort associated to documentation dramatically. So in terms of reusability, you can't really do better on the market. There's also the fact that we can contain the way we worked by providing an ecosystem in which non-technical resources such as BAs and QA analysts can contribute. BAs can enter their business knowledge without having any source of knowledge of ALM and and any other tools beside the application by itself. And QA analysts can also define the naming convention, the container per se. So how are we going to segregate each of the components so everybody understand what goes into each box. Okay, the financial benefit of this approach is quite substantial. Not only that we are able to offer a quicker returns at the beginning of a project, we can get return as early as after 3 cycles, which is quite amazing. But more importantly, we are able to minimize the amount of effort associated to maintaining scripts. And this is clearly something that should be in the back of your mind if you are about to engage on a new automation project. We've seen that so many times across so many different customers that they're in a hurry to start scripting. They don't really think about how they're going to be maintaining those assets, and after several builds, they realize that what, it should be better to go back with the manual testing. So if there's something you got to remember actually about us today is we are expert into minimizing this maintenance effort. So, and this will clearly have an impact on the financial return you will get on the long haul. Long haul, short haul, everything, everywhere basically. The other key benefit that we can quantify as well is the sustainability of the approach, making sure that everybody understand what the other is doing. So having people that are not technical understanding and staying in control of what is being developed. So without any more wait, I'll introduce you to Cesare, and I will get back later for closing statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Thierry, and hello everyone. I've been doing test automation for the last 20 years, and here's why I like this framework, and nothing currently available on the market can compare it to it. Our solution will decrease delivery time and facilitate creation of automated test cases when they are done by business analysts or testers who are not familiar with automation tools. Our solution covers 3 key factors: framework that contains over 150 common functions to speed start your project. So there is a saving of over 200 days that allows us to head start development and concentrate on creating functions directly related to your application. So instead of developing functions like file handling or date manipulation, we have them ready and we could concentrate on application-specific development. So our common functions libraries contains following: browser manipulations, reporting, manipulation of dates, string or texts, datasheets, also validation functions, HP specific interface and recovery functions, and many others. Second factor is our interface that allows analysts to create automated test cases by selecting predefined transactions. Therefore, anyone with domain knowledge can go ahead and start creating automated test cases. Third key factor is our customized reporting solution that is designed for non-technical resources. So for business users and managers, we are showing information that are relevant without displaying unnecessary overhead and entries that are not important, to high-level overview of the tests that were executed. Let's start with ALM to show you an overview of our solution. So let's log into the system. For the purpose of this presentation, we are using HP Flight application, and we've created some test cases that we are using to validate, amongst other, insert order, update order, delete order. Therefore, we have one physical test, flight application insert, in that case, that will be executed with multiple test configuration. Each configuration represents either business process, business requirements, or functional requirements. On top of it, each test configuration can be run with different scenarios. In our case, we have 3 test configurations: business class, economy class, and first class. The idea here is to facilitate creation of test cases, which allows BAs, SMEs, or any person who has no experience with automation tools to input the business logic within automation ecosystem. The other point is to reduce the physical test scripts in your baseline, which leads to optimizing the maintenance of the scripts. This is a key factor in any automation project. Why is this important? Because a lack of the script maintenance is the main reason for automation project failures. Well-maintained project will never become a shelfware, but it will be a very important asset of the testing phase in your project lifecycle. Regardless of the level of testing maturity in your organization, you'll be able to use our design. So let's take a look at the test instance in execution setting and data. To create our test case, we are selecting entries that meet our target criteria. We have insert order and the business keyword here. And we are getting those 3 scenarios: domestic short haul, domestic long haul, and international long haul. If we take a look at all the columns, we could see the usage of the commands. So for the command 1, launch flight application, the associated data is flight. For login, we have associated data user ID and passwords. As you could see, this one line contains commands and data that is being used for this particular test case. So each row represents separate test case. All of them are testing inserting order in business class type of ticket with different combination of scenarios. Again, in our case, domestic short haul flights, international long haul flights, and domestic long haul. To recap, we are taking an advantage of the newest ALM functionality in order to implement true data-driven and keyword-driven framework. At any given time, when modification is needed, all what we have to do is to modify related command, and the changes will be replicated across all test cases that are using this command. As a result, the cost of maintenance is drastically reduced. Our code resides in libraries, therefore execution is faster and simpler when comparing to module-based testing or anything we came across in the market. Creation time of automated test cases is also reduced. We could create them by using either Excel or our intuitive user interface. Now it will be a good time to show you how our user interface can facilitate creation of automated test cases without any automation tool knowledge. So let me close this for a moment and switch to our user interface. We have 2 types of commands. First, Pegasie command utility. There are libraries that are not related to specific applications but are common for closing browsers, windows, terminating processes, or restarting workstation, etc. We call them utilities. And the other types are application commands. Some of them are common commands, like for launching application, logging in, logging out. Some of them are specific business related commands. So set flight schedule, get selected flight info, etc. Developers are responsible to prepare commands that are used for particular test case or business scenario. After publishing, command will be displayed for all the users. Let's create a simple test case using our transactions. So, starting with launching application, we need to put the path to the application, application name, and we adding to the test case. Next command will be logging in. Once we have our application up and running, user, password, adding it. Now once we log in, we want to set our flight schedule. We want to put the date. Let's put it at the January 1st 2016. We're gonna be flying from Boston to Montreal. In fact, we adding the test case, and next we're gonna get the order information, passenger name, J, number of tickets, 2, cabin type, business, adding to the test case. At the end we validate the total price for 2 tickets, and we would like to log out. All we have to do now is to add the test case description, add the file name with the path, and click on generate button. There we go, our test case is generated successfully. Perfect, let's take a look. Okay, let's start with Excel. Demo is 9 of the file. So as you could see, it contains one line. That means we have a one test case, and it has the command, comments, and data. So all the information that we generated from the tool has been posted to this file, and it can be used in our testing. I would like to also show you the bigger sample. As you could see, we could have many commands insert. We don't have a limit on the number of commands. Well, the limit is the number of columns in the Excel, which is over 16,000, so that's not an issue. As you could see, it is possible to create and maintain test cases by using Excel only. However, our tool provides more functionality and helps you to prevent errors and spelling mistakes. That's why we strongly suggest to use our tool for this purpose. So let's close the Excel and our tool, and we'll run the script. Our test will run one test configuration with 3 scenarios. Of course, this is test application, so it's putting the fake orders, but in case of your application, now you will see how it will run your tests and testing the necessary information and running necessary validation in your application. So let us to finish this run. As we discussed before, we are running one business scenario with three different configurations. So I believe this is the third run, and we're going to be talking about our customized reports. Now let's talk about our customized reports that we provide for non-technical resources to enable them to quickly assess tests that were executed. One of them is test set summary log that is created or updated at the end of the run and contains entries of all the tests executed within this test set. It goes into attachments and it's in the CSV format, so we need to change the view a little bit. Perfect. This is high-level overview with the results of the tests. What that means is that we have one central point of reference for the execution results. This log file is showing us what test passed, what failed, and why. This is all in the single file. If you use ALM and you need to find results of particular test, you will really appreciate what you see here. This is much more efficient than having to drill down on each test result of the test that failed, opening failed results, searching for failures, documenting results, and what was the reason for the failure. Too much time consuming. Here you have everything in one flat file. The other report that we customized is the standard QTP report that is displayed at the end of each run. So we took that report and we simplified the output. So in our case, what we see is the information about commands that we ran. So instead of displaying everything about which button was clicked and where, we are displaying only information that are relevant to the tests that were run. So information about calculations, whatever we found interesting and valid, this is displayed here. And of course that goes for each of the run. So let me close this. Let's switch back to our presentation. I hope that I was able to demonstrate you how our framework, by replacing physical scripts with logical, is able to reduce creation efforts. It's an effective way of defining test scenarios, reducing knowledge requirements on testing tools. It is very intuitive for business analysts and SMEs. We enhance ALM functionality by using ALM test configuration for the true data-driven approach, and we introduce integrated reporting. Now our reports showing actual results instead of technical jargon. We eliminate duplication of efforts. We provide fastest component-driven execution on the market. We reduce maintenance effort to an absolute minimum. Now I relay this presentation back to Thierry. Thank you very much for your time.
Well done, Cesare. So if we look at the presentation today, we realize that automation is growing in terms of maturity, and is clearly probably the best option for QA group to accelerate or improve efficiency within their group. Depending of which customer we're talking to, they're seeking for different objectives. If we're talking to banks, they're looking to increase coverage. If we're talking to a government, they're looking to capture business knowledge because a lot of people will retire soon. If we're talking to a manufacturing, they're looking to cut in costs. These are all objectives that can be seen by automation. But everybody, without any exception, are looking to speed things up. And again, automation is probably the best option out there to accelerate the overall software development life cycle, because by improving the efficiency of the validation process and the feedback process, it has an impact on the overall software development process. And bear in mind that test phase represent anywhere between 40 and 60% of labor costs for an upgrade project. I know some people will be doubtful when they hear that, but this is something that has been brought us by many analysis studies that has been made throughout the years. Okay, this concludes our presentation for today. But if you have any questions, or you would like to see a demo, or you have, you would like to know more about our integration services or outsourcing services, please feel free to call us at any of those numbers, and we'll be pleased to answer your question.